if talks between Cuba and the U.S. end without a resolution to the refugee crisis. How to slow the world's growing population? That's the challenge for an international panel gathering in Cairo. And a small number of Cuban refugees find freedom thousands of miles away from home.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by Deborah Roberts.
Good evening. U.S. and Cuban negotiators tried unsuccessfully for the third day today to resolve the growing immigration crisis as the total number of refugees being picked up at sea swelled to 30,000. The talks broke off for today after only 2.5 hours. NBC's Tom Pettit has the latest.
The U.S. had repeated its proposal that legal immigration from Cuba be raised, perhaps by as much as 28,000 a year, in return for Cuba's help in holding back refugees. U.S. spokesman David Johnson.
There are substantial gaps between us.
The Cuban negotiator has been all over television promoting Cuba's demand.
If you want to find a real resolution to this problem, you cannot ignore the sources of the problem. And the sources are the economic embargo.
The U.S. is locked into finding a short-range solution for the refugee deluge and not dealing with the embargo issue. It's an old dilemma.
It's clear that economic sanctions are not going to bring down Castro, and the use of force is certainly not a feasible option with respect to Cuba.
Jesse Jackson today on TV.
We have the moral authority to rescue the democracy in Haiti, and there is no reason right now for us not to broaden talks with Cuba and end this impasse.
The refugee camps in Guantanamo are very full with growing complaints of overcrowding, with 16,000 Cuban and 14,000 Haitian refugees. From Guantanamo, 2,000 Haitians will go to Suriname in South America. Possibly starting Monday, 10,000 Cubans will go to Panama. The U.S. is building 4 camps near the Panama Canal and paying the Panamanian government $35 million for a 6-month deal. But Guantanamo remains the U.S. pressure point for Castro. Since the Spanish-American War, America's had a vested interest in Cuba and the use of Cuban territory for Guantanamo Naval Station. Americans had free run until Castro and the missile crisis and the failed Bay of Pigs invasion.
It is the strongest wish of the people of this country, as well as the people of this hemisphere, that Cuba shall one day be free again.
Since JFK, American policy has been that the economic embargo will force Castro out, eventually. The negotiations will take a long time, with no resolution of the immigration issue in sight. The talks resume tomorrow. Tom Pettit, NBC News, Washington.
Despite the uncertainty of their fate, the Cubans are still coming. Today, more than 600 were rescued from the ocean by the U.S. Coast Guard. Meanwhile, back in Cuba, their relatives are left to wait and worry. NBC's Ed Rabel is in Havana tonight.
At the Catholic Church in Regla, just outside Havana, the prayers were for the relatives and loved ones who fled by sea and whose fate is unknown. Parishioners pored over an 18-page list containing 18,000 names of those picked up by the U.S. Coast Guard and taken to Guantanamo Naval Base at the southeastern tip of Cuba. 19-year-old Anaisa Perez has no word on her 21-year-old husband who left on a raft 18 days ago. His name was not on the list. She says she comes to the church every day but is losing hope. So is this woman who's lost her husband. It is beginning to sink in that hundreds, maybe thousands, are lost at sea. The exodus may be on hold as Cubans await the results from the Cuba-U.S. talks in New York. On Thursday, when the talks began, about 2,000 refugees were picked up. Only half that many were rescued yesterday. Many rafters never make it beyond the coastal waters, driven back to shore by strong currents and tides. And fewer are going because detention camps await them at Guantanamo. Even those who are taking the shorter and less dangerous 20-mile route directly from beaches near Santiago, Cuba to Guantanamo are fewer in number. Like those traveling the longer route through the Straits of Florida, these are among the most desperate to leave. The flow of Cubans from their homeland is not expected to end altogether. As long as there is a way open to escape the poverty and hunger afflicting them, they say they will go. Ed Rabel, NBC News, Havana.
In Miami's Little Havana, Cuban Americans are keeping a watchful eye on the growing crisis. And for the first time in decades, there are voices challenging the traditional hardline position against Fidel Castro. NBC's Jackie Nesbral is in Miami.
Radio Mambi in Miami, a mainstay of the hardline anti-Castro movement here. Caller after caller arguing that any negotiating with the Cuban government is wrong. Newscaster Tomás Regalado.
Let's have an international embargo. Let's go to the Security Council. People believe that something should be done to accelerate the fall of Fidel Castro.
We want Castro out! We want freedom now! That passion is part of the political culture here, and it was on display last week when thousands of Cubans marched through Little Havana, demanding tougher steps against Castro.
For the past 35 years, the dominant sentiment of the Cuban-American community has been no deals with Castro. But now, other voices are being heard.
Lawyer Alfredo Duran is with the Cuban-American Committee for Democracy.
So the only logical solution to the Cuban problem is a dialogue between the Cuban government, the Cuban opposition in exile, and the dissidents within Cuba, and with the United States government.
Vivian Manerud books thousands of Cubans on charter flights to Havana. She hopes for peaceful transition by ending the U.S. embargo.
If the problem to begin with is an immigration problem, and that we know that the immigration problem stems from lack of food and medicine, how can you keep tightening up on the country and not expect more immigrants?
Different opinions on how to deal with Castro's Cuba are emerging between original exiles and those who came later, like this family, relieved after seeing a relative's name on a list of Cubans at Guantanamo. They want to send money to those left behind.
People going to die day by day because Cuba is really depressed.
And there are differences along generational lines. Paul Schwepp was born 1 year after his parents fled Cuba. United in their opposition to Castro, they differ on squeezing him.
I do think that for Cuban Americans who grew up in the United States, there's some more freedom to take a fresh look at what's happening in Cuba.
Despite these differences on how to deal with Cuba, nearly all Cubans in Miami agree Fidel Castro has got to go. Jackie Nesbral, NBC News, Miami.
When Nightly News continues in a moment, the people in Sarajevo pray for peace and a trouble-free pilgrimage by the Pope. And on this Labor Day weekend, learning on the job and making the most of it.
Right now, the only place you'll want to buy tires is Sears, because through Wednesday, all the best brands are all on sale. All Goodyear, all Michelin, all Bridgestone, all BF Goodrich, all 5 to 20% off. And at Sears, you get free mounting, free 5,000-mile rotation, and free lifetime flat repair. We won't be undersold. So if you need tires, don't pass up the huge Labor Day tire sale. Only at Sears.
At Red Lobster during September, it's our 20 shrimp and more dinners. Start with 20 of our succulent shrimp and get more, like luscious lobster. Or choose 20 shrimp with a juicy steak. Or enjoy 20 shrimp with steaming crab legs, all specially priced. 20 shrimp and more with either lobster, steak, or crab. So come, get more, but only during September, only at Red Lobster.
Now to world population growth and how to control it. Tomorrow, the UN International Conference on Population begins in Cairo. Delegates are trying to finalize a 20-year plan to limit world growth. But at least one Muslim extremist group has threatened to disrupt the conference, an example of the criticism and anger the conference has drawn. NBC's Tom Aspel reports.
On the eve of the conference here, there are objections from two of the world's major religions to the language on the agenda. Pope John Paul repeated today his concern that the Cairo conference would encourage premarital sex and help women seeking abortions.
It is necessary to resist the temptation of a dangerous shortcut, focusing all efforts on the reduction by whatever means possible of the birth rate.
The Vatican has criticized the U.S. as a principal sponsor of pro-abortion policies and taken the unusual step of naming Vice President Al Gore in its attacks on the proposed agenda of the conference. Gore appeared on NBC's Meet the Press this morning to answer the charges.
A woman should not be coerced to make the decision that one particular set of religious beliefs would dictate or one particular set of political beliefs would lead to, but rather that is an intensely personal choice that should be reserved for the woman in question.
The Catholic Church has found an unlikely ally in Islam. Many Muslims worry that the conference might promote not only abortion, but premarital sex and homosexuality. 5 Islamic nations, including Saudi Arabia, have refused to attend in protest. Egyptian police have detained hundreds of suspected Muslim radicals in the past week. The government's main concern is security for 15,000 delegates from 180 countries gathering here. The politics are overshadowing the message the conference wants to send to the world. The Earth's population, currently 5.7 billion, is surging, and without action now could more than double by the end of next century. Most scientists fear that surge is endangering the planet. Food. Consumers are growing faster than supplies. In sub-Saharan Africa, for example, per capita grain production has fallen 12% since 1981. Water, it's limited. China, for example, is already pumping from aquifers faster than they can be replenished. Water levels have dropped as much as 250 feet. Rainforests. In Brazil alone, about 8,000 square miles of it are cut and burned every year, and that could help lead to global warming.
If we do not voluntarily stabilize population in a humane way, it will be done for us by nature, whether we wish it or not, and it will be done brutally, and it will bring widespread human misery.
Surging populations are offsetting gains in development. Mexico, for example, where 800,000 people enter the job market every year when there are only 400,000 new jobs. That creates pressure to migrate, and millions have, north to the United States. The conference will be in session for a week. One of its main concerns will be the allocation of $17 billion in funds to developing countries to encourage them to keep their birth rates down. Tom Aswell, NBC News, Cairo.
More tonight on Pope John Paul's scheduled visit to Bosnia. Today, snipers opened fire on the stadium where the pontiff is scheduled to hold an open-air mass on Thursday. An incident which underscores the risk involved in a papal visit to Sarajevo, a city still under siege. NBC's Tim Deagle is in Sarajevo.
Sarajevo's faithful prayed today for the Pope's safety following his decision to come here despite the obvious dangers. Papal Nuncio Monsignor Francesco Monterisi in Sarajevo to prepare for Thursday's visit led today's congregation. Yesterday he went to Pale to meet with Radovan Karadzic, the leader of the Bosnian Serbs, at his headquarters on the outskirts of the city.
Unfortunate.
As he did all last week, Karadzic once again tried to discourage the papal visit, saying he could not guarantee the Pope's security in Sarajevo, which remains besieged by Bosnian Serb troops. In several parts of Bosnia, despite a 7-month-old ceasefire, fighting continues almost daily. Varash, Bihać, Maglaj, all are scenes of recent fighting. And in Sarajevo, sporadic sniper fire continues. Just last week, Bosnian Serbs rejected the latest peace plan, raising fears that heavy fighting might resume. Despite these fears, final preparations for the Pope's visit are now going full steam ahead. Posters all over the city say, "You are not abandoned, we are with you." And in 4 days' time, the people of Sarajevo hope to be hearing those words from the Pope in person. Tim Deagle, NBC News, Sarajevo.
When Nightly News continues in a moment, changing cloudy futures into bright ones. Our focus report.
When do you use Thompson's?
Every year since 1981. Every fall for 5 years.
every second year for 10 years.
We're not taking chances.
Over time, water invisibly weakens unprotected surfaces. Suddenly, you've got damage.
No repair. Still looks new.
We've never replaced a single board.
Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer, the seal of success. Also protect with Thompson Stain, the only stain with Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer.
Well, we're here with Wanda and Babs, who feel that their zipper bag is fine and will not switch to Gladlock zipper bags.
That's right. Ditto.
Now, Babbo, let's say you hold some of your famous chicken gravy upside down over Wanda's head, sealed in either your bag or the Gladlock bag with the yellow and blue make green seal, so you know the bag is closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
Well, I say let's go for it with our bag. Why switch? Because it's my head. We'll switch to Gladlock.
Good call, Wanda. When it really counts, get Gladlock.
Ever ask yourself, why should you have to wash all the dishes before you wash the dishes? With a Maytag Jet Clean dishwasher, you don't have to. Its 43 powerful jets scrub every surface, it filters the food particles and disposes. Maytag is the dishwasher that asks the question, who needs you?
Where have I heard that?
Maytag, the dependability people.
He preaches the right to life and the right to kill.
I believe that if 100 doctors were killed, it would put the abortion industry out of business.
Should he be stopped? Paulie Phillips, Dateline Tuesday.
In focus this Labor Day weekend, bright career opportunities for kids who may not be on the college track. A special program in California provides on-the-job training in a growing industry. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell has our report.
Okay, Roberto, let's come and check the status of our Mod 300 DCS unit.
This is where high school and the growing industry of biotechnology meet. Berkeley, California. It's a lab for real life.
Is this the kind of thing they use to take pictures of chromosomes and stuff? Exactly, yeah.
Students from low-income families who might not be headed for college or promising careers are in training.
I was a laboratory assistant in biological chemistry in the research and development department.
It's called the Biotech Academy. Students from Berkeley High School can take part in this new 2-year program that mixes the classroom with practical work experience at a major biotech company, Miles Incorporated. Miles is a healthcare company that makes medicines and other pharmaceutical products. The company wanted to expand, but the community objected, so Miles proposed an investment into the neighborhood, $1.7 million to get the Biotech Academy underway. Now nearly 30 students each year are given paid internships, $6 an hour, internships that could eventually lead to jobs.
I could see myself doing this. I find all this fascinating, and I feel like I'm doing interesting work and benefiting society and everything. I think this is very good.
They didn't give me stuff that just wasn't going to be used for anything. They gave me work that will be later used for other employees.
Learning to work with a liquid nitrogen cryogenic freezer or a centrifuge may seem too high-tech for high school students, but that doesn't stop them from learning and applying their knowledge in the lab.
It's not a fast food joint. It's not pizza delivery. It's a job to see what the real working world is like.
I got friends who are like, oh, you don't do that, you're just saying that. But they don't understand, and I can't keep explaining to what I do because sometimes it's hard for me because I don't even understand half the time.
For some of these teens, the workday doesn't end at Miles. In the evenings, Damian Kirkland referees an inner-city basketball league. And Roberto Hernandez works at a pizza restaurant.
My family wants the best for me, and I do have to support my family, so half of my check goes to them.
Michelle Burnett grew up in a tough Oakland neighborhood where gangs and drugs were a common sight. She sees the Biotech Academy as a real opportunity.
I'm trying to get out. That's the type of neighborhood I'm from, and I don't want to be just another statistic. I want to be somebody.
Suddenly they're thrust into an environment that's very fast-paced and a technology that's brand new, and it's a challenge. And I think one of the big surprises is how well they do.
How many of these students will land biotech jobs is unclear, but they have a new advantage, and for now they can experiment with their own futures. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News.
When Nightly News continues, the latest in the plague of violence by young people.
If you suffer from allergies, the makers of Biotech have some important news. The antihistamine in Biotech Extend tabs relieves allergy symptoms better than the leading prescription antihistamine. Think about it. For relief of allergy symptoms, the antihistamine in Biotech relieves better than the leading prescription antihistamine. For adult strength allergy relief, remember, Biotech Extend tabs relieve better than the leading prescription.
Guess what? Hallmark's humorous line of cards, Shoebox Greetings, are now just $1.29.
Some restrictions may apply.
No restrictions. That's the regular price for the rest of the year.
With just 500 proofs of purchase.
What are you doing?
Good announcers know that all sales require certain legal qualifiers.
But this isn't a sale. Shoebox cards are just $1.29 every day, really.
Must be 21 or older to play.
Listen, Shoebox cards are only $1.29, only from Hallmark. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
No shoes, no shirt, no service.
Well, okay, that's true.
Holy... Are you really?
When you win the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes,
right there,
wherever you are, we'll find you.
Here, the prize patrol.
You found me. Oh my gosh, no way.
We've surprised winners all across the country. From Maine to California, even Alaska. We're the Prize Patrol from Publishers Clearinghouse, and we hope to find you next.
Sherwin-Williams matches paint colors to anything. Fruits to suits, prints to mints, hats to cats. Use your imagination during Sherwin-Williams Fall Kickoff Sale with classic 99 interior flat latex, $12.99 a gallon.
Ask Sherwin-Williams. It's never fun to eat and run, to rush and eat too fast, 'cause you know it's gonna catch up with you at last.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Two men confess to the same murder. Which one is the real killer?
We got us a real whodunit.
Jason Bateman, James Wilder, Two Faces of Evil, NBC tonight.
This week on Today, what women need to know about heart disease. Also, actor Kevin Kline and a performance by the Temptations. Join us this week and see what a difference today makes.
A troubling report tonight on how economic stress is affecting the American family. According to Child Trends, a research group, some parents are working so hard to make ends meet, they're neglecting their children's priorities, like homework and PTA meetings. Today, Labor Secretary Robert Reich expressed concern that values like getting an education are being lost when a family is struggling financially.
Thanks very much. It cannot be only a responsibility of government. Obviously, it's individuals, it's businesses, it's labor unions. We all have to look at the increasing gap that's growing between the well-educated and poorly educated and say, that's not the kind of society we want to live in.
More graphic evidence tonight of our society under siege. A shootout in Detroit has left 4 young people dead and a 5th critically wounded. It happened at an after-hours club in this residential neighborhood. Police said the shooting started over a dice game, then spilled outside. Residents say the club was a magnet for guns and gambling. Other alarming incidents tonight of guns involving children. In New York City, a 3-year-old boy is in critical condition after he was accidentally shot by his 8-year-old cousin. And a 14-year-old girl has been charged with shooting her 16-year-old brother. Meantime, in Chicago, police have solved a year-old murder case, arresting an 11-year-old boy in the slashing death of his neighbor. She was 84 years old. And overseas, violence in Jerusalem on this weekend before the Jewish New Year. 2 Israelis were stabbed today in an apparent guerrilla attack near the entrance to the walled Old City. 2 Arabs were arrested. In a moment, Cuban refugees end up far and away from home.
The good news, diets rich in antioxidants may benefit your long-term health. The bad news, the average diet is not rich in antioxidants. But today, there's Protegra, the antioxidant supplement that's all antioxidants. More vitamin E, vitamin C, and beta-carotene. More antioxidant protection than you get from a regular multivitamin. To boost your antioxidant levels, even if you take a multivitamin, add Protegra to your daily routine. Because Protegra means protection.
Hey, nice bowl of shredded wheat.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you could eat total and get 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals. Try to get that from shredded wheat, and you'll have to add more than just milk.
Like what?
Well, you could try strawberries for vitamin C.
Oh, that sounds good.
Lima beans for iron. Eggs for some vitamin E.
You gotta be kidding.
Some peanuts for niacin. Or a nice piece of liver for some B6.
I'll try the total.
Whole grain total. One bowl, 100%. Hey, don't eat it just for me.
You've got customers who demand, information to command, and competition to withstand. So how's your business to expand?
Here's how. Sprint Business introduces Real Solutions, a top-to-bottom action plan that shows where your business stands versus the competition and offers communication solutions to help your business grow. And it's all free. Call now for Real Solutions. 1-800-816-REAL. Only from Sprint Business.
How do green thumbs keep veggies fresher longer? Ziploc brand vegetable bags with tiny holes called freshness vents. They let the right amount of moisture out, keep freshness in. That's the whole reason.
Ziploc has the lock on freshness.
For vegetables.
Now, this is not just ordinary brain surgery.
Eric, you with me?
Yeah. What's going on here will change the way you think. Now, NBC Wednesday.
Finally tonight, contrary to the scenes of the last few weeks, not all the Cubans fleeing their country are heading to Florida. Some are now turning up in an unlikely place, thousands of miles away from home. NBC's Linda Vester explains.
It's called a land where strange tales begin and happy endings are possible, where the children are pale and freckled, the native tongue is Gaelic, and the drink is Guinness Ale. So why do they call this place Little Havana? Because nearly 100 Cuban refugees have become familiar faces in the town of Ennis, County Clare. They came not by boat, but by Aeroflot on the regular Havana to Moscow flight. When the plane stopped to refuel in Shannon, Ireland, and passengers are sent to the duty-free counter, some of the Cubans never get back on. Instead, they apply for political asylum and reunite in Ennis, the closest town to the airport. Camilo Martinez just arrived yesterday. Rene Santiago has been here 2 months.
A friend of mine in Russia invited me to Russia. But when the plane stopped in Shannon, I chose for myself.
You said, I'm getting off the plane.
Yes, in the first country. I'm looking for freedom.
But the plane ticket cost them dearly, the equivalent of $1,200 one way. Juan Manuel saved 10 years and sold all his possessions to pay for it. Here, the Irish government gives them the equivalent of $90 a week while deciding whether to grant them asylum. They may have to wait up to 3 years for an answer. Meanwhile, they're not allowed to work, and they have to live in close quarters. Sometimes the frustration boils over. But on the whole, the Irish have made them feel welcome.
Evie, look. Yeah, not doing any harm.
Everybody needs shelter, no matter who they are.
It's a friendly culture, even if the accent is tough to understand. English classes do help in overcoming the language barrier.
Enrique, what time would it be?
16:30 p.m.
They might master the language, but will they survive the weather?
I think I die.
You'll die?
Yes,
because of the weather?
Yes, cold. Oh, no good for me.
The cold is going to kill them. We'll have sort of many, I think the winter will really be a telling time for many of them.
They will have to get used to carrying an umbrella everywhere they go. But after that, the Emerald Isle may not be so bad. Linda Vester, NBC News, Ennis, Ireland.
That's Nightly News for this Sunday. I'm Deborah Roberts. Join Ann Curry here tomorrow. Good night.
NBC News, now more than ever.
Each year, 94 million babies are born. The population bomb, when it explodes, is going to cost you and your family. What can be done? A special series on NBC Nightly News this week.
Your Kentuckiana GMC truck dealers want you to remember this. GMC's been making quality trucks at competitive prices for over 90 years. Trucks for any use. Sonoma, all new and compact. Sierra, comfortable and heavy duty. Safari, vans for today's family. Jimmy, America's sport utility for the 90s. Compare us to Ford, Toyota, and Jeep. Don't pay more, get more with GMC Truck. From your Kentuckiana GMC truck dealers. Newcomb, Jones, Browning, Brown Powers, Demery, Arbuckle, and Tingle.
Our low is lower. In a recent price comparison, Winn-Dixie's price on Kellogg's Frosted Flakes was $2.48. Kroger charged over $2 more. Post Golden Crisp was $2.58 at Winn-Dixie. Kroger $1.51 more. Winn-Dixie's price on Post Fruity Pebbles $2.98. Kroger was $1.61 more. These were Winn-Dixie's everyday prices, not a sale. On 28 of the same breakfast items, Winn-Dixie was 22% lower than Kroger. Winn-Dixie, the low price leader.
You're watching Wave 3 Television, Louisville. Tonight, an NBC premiere that vows to protect and serve.